Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. I'm your host, Thomas Bailey. Joined with me today, Michael Estique, Isaiah Marquez, and Brian Offe. As we get started here today, we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth about the Sabres, the Bills, the Bandits, and a little bit about the NFL's free agency period so far. Before we hop into any of that, though, please make sure to stay up to date with us on BuffaloSportsInsider.com. Ton of great articles, ton of great content. Go there and look at everything we have to offer. On top of that, we also want to talk about our social media pages, our Twitter, our X handle, whatever you call that, YouTube, of course, as well, Instagram. Go follow us. We do appreciate everybody that stays tuned with us, indeed. As we hop into this first segment, it's going to be the Buffalo Sabres. Joining us for this segment, I have my buddy Alex Miley coming into the stream. The load here is there we go. We're all ready to go. Alex, we're going to talk about this Buffalo Sabres past week. We had 3 games in a 4-night span. We're going to start with Toronto. Buffalo would fall in this game in overtime against a very good Toronto team. Olofsson would tie the game in the second period after falling down 1-0 due to a William Nylander goal. The teams would stay flat in the third period. Neither side could open it up, and then Matthews breaks through in overtime, giving the Maple Leafs the extra point. Luukkonen has a nice game. He had 27 shots against, 25 saves on the night. A good game, but Buffalo just couldn't get it done. Our next game was against the Nashville Predators. Buffalo would lose 4-2. This was also Bowen Byram, our new addition from the Colorado Avalanche. I said that so bad, but he is going to be a big piece for this team. He has 3 points so far in his first 2 games with the team. He scored his first goal as a Buffalo Sabre in this game, as Owen Power would net the other goal, but Buffalo still falls 4-2 in a sad game. Eric Comrie just 20 saves on 24 shots. Not a night that he wants to remember, I'm sure, as Buffalo would fall in their second game. And then the last game, the most hectic of the 3 against Edmonton at home. We win 3-2 in the shootout. Buffalo was falling down in this game 2-0 early. A lot of people had some very, very sad hopes that we were going to lose all 3 of these games when in reality we needed at least 2 of the 3. But Buffalo would come back, tie the game, force an overtime period. They would win in overtime, you thought. Owen Power with 2 seconds left, but it did not count. Buffalo and Edmonton would play on. Thompson fires home a shootout goal. Luukkonen with the save, and Buffalo picks up the extra point in the shootout. As I turn it over to Alex, what are your thoughts on the 3-game span?
The Sabres were very up and down in the games. Toronto, the fact that we were able to send the game to overtime was impressive because we did not play our best game. But that has been a problem with the team all year is when we don't play our best game, we lose in regulation. So it was huge to pick up a point there. And then against Nashville, Tage was out, and you could see how that affected the first line. Our first line got dominated there. I mean, Philip Forsberg had a hat trick against us, and we just couldn't keep up with it with how good UC Saros has been. And then the Edmonton game was the most exciting game I've watched all season. My heart was racing that entire overtime. The fact that we were able to come back after starting off flat, going down 2-0 in the first 5 minutes, and come back and win that game in overtime, it actually win it twice, was very impressive, and it gives me a lot of hope for the upcoming week.
When we speak on the Sabres, I mean, honestly, we have to think about the fact that their offense and their defense are really never on the same page. As long as they can get their offense and their defense on the same page, they can make great things happen. But until then, they need to really figure it out.
I think down to the wire, Buffalo, when in crunch time, they get it done. As we look at Buffalo versus Edmonton, Sabres win a hectic 3-2 in the shootout. I think when Buffalo has their back to the wall, they're at their best.
I feel like Buffalo isn't who we thought they were based off last season, but you have Luukkonen playing the way he's playing. Many thought we was going to lose all 3 of these games. We came out with a win, thanks to Luukkonen. So I feel like as long as Luukkonen keeps doing what he's doing, the rest of the team should just build around that, compliment him.
Yeah, Buffalo's next game will be tomorrow night against the Detroit Red Wings, who sit 9th in the Atlantic Division, but 9th in the Eastern Conference, as they're right there for one of the best teams in the league right now, as they sit at 17th in the league as well. Buffalo's going to have their word cut out for them there, but I mean, you got 5 games in a row that the Red Wings have lost coming into this game. They're on a very tough streak of games, and this is a game they have to win.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest game of the year so far for the Sabres as they play the Red Wings, who they have to jump if they want to playoffs. If we're able to win this game, we can get to 5 points back, which a couple weeks ago that would have been unheard of. We were sitting 10, 12 points back. To be able to get to 5 points back with still I think 18 games left would be huge. And I think the Sabres are going to be able to pull this one out. They're going to be wearing the goat heads. They're going to be extra motivated. I think they pull out a hard-fought 4-3 win.
Hey, I agree as well. I mean, honestly, if they can pull this one out, then they'll look to.
The Red Wings are on a tough streak. They lost 5 games. Buffalo Sabres are just 500 at home, but I think they still squeeze it through just because Red Wings are on a 5-game losing streak. I think the final score will be 3-1.
All right, so the Buffalo Sabres segment is through. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and we'll come back to talk some Bandits NLL lacrosse.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
Hi, Lauren. My name is Katie. We're gonna take care of you, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider for our second segment here. The Buffalo Bandits will be our segment here. I am joined with Evan Harrington, Buffalo Bandits specialist for us. As we talk a little bit more in this game, the Buffalo Bandits against the Saskatchewan Rush, they win 15-14 in an overtime thriller, the first overtime game of the season for the Bandits, and it was an amazing one. 5 minutes in, the Buffalo Bandits would indeed win this game as Nanticoke would find the back of the net. Buffalo pulling out a tough win in overtime, finally getting rid of that losing streak they were on 3 games long. It's a good way to win. As another thing to note for this game, Matt Vince, goaltender, did break the record to become the most successful goaltender in Bandits franchise history in the save column with the most saves of any goaltender in Bandits franchise history. So congratulations to Matt Vince. On top of that, the coach John Tavares was very impressed with the team, saying that he thought he was great in regulation, but he thought he was even better in overtime. Evan, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this was a full team win here. Obviously, the Rush and the Bandits going back and forth what it felt like this entire game.
29 combined goals. Obviously, the Bandits on top with 15-14 over the Rush. But Matt Vince came up big when the Bandits needed him the most. Obviously, some balls were getting past him in regulation. You would have liked for him to make a few more saves. But when it came down to the crunch time and it came down to when Matt Vince needed to be Matt Vince and be that type of goaltender that, you know, helped win them a championship just a season ago, he locked in, dialed in between the posts, and he played phenomenal in the overtime period. And like you mentioned, he broke the all-time save record for the Bandits, passing his goalie coach, Anthony Cosmo. Another point I want to make here is Colin Farrell. 27 of 33 faceoffs won in his first ever game in the NLL for the Buffalo Bandits. Just a phenomenal showing for him, because it's not like the Josh Burns or the Dane Smiths that are going to be putting up the highlight reel goals and the highlight reel numbers, but a very important part in the game of lacrosse is possession. And the easiest way to gain possession in lacrosse is winning that faceoff. And winning 27 of 33 of those, you cannot get much better than that in the face-off circle. And also, what a showing for the fans. 16,596 fans showed out to KeyBank Center, a near sellout downtown Buffalo. The Bandits putting on a show once again for those fans on Marvel Hero Night. And the Bandits were heroes in this one. Like you mentioned, there, Thomas, snapping the 3-game losing streak. And they're back to the 500 record at 6-6. And next week they have a big matchup on Saturday against the Toronto Rock, who lead the NLL with an 11-2 record, and it's a rival matchup. It's a big matchup, and they're going to need their guys like the Josh Burns, their Dane Smiths, their Matt Vinces, their Teoka Nanakokes to come out and play like they did the other night.
I agree totally. Matt Vince, Josh Burns, and an absolute show of their fans, as you said. I mean, I really agree with that. Congratulations to Matt Vince on really breaking that all-time save record and just being one of the top saves, being the best at what he does.
To highlight Robert Church, he scored 6 goals, including the tying goal late in regulation. I think Robert Church pulled out a big one. Matt Vince, 47 saves against the Rush. That was phenomenal. I don't think nobody ever done that ever. Connor Farewell won 27 of 33 faceoffs in his NLL debut. Good for him. Yeah.
I mean, what a much needed win for the Bandits. I mean, 3-game losing streak, and then you come out and win in this fashion. I think it sets tone for the next game against a rival matchup against Toronto. I feel like players like Farrell and Vince playing the way they're playing, we should come out with that win against Toronto.
Yeah, guys, as it was an impressive game for the Bandits nonetheless. Of course, as Evan alluded to, we have the Toronto Rock coming up next. We have beaten the Toronto Rock earlier in the season, but of course, this is later game of the season. A lot going on. As we're going to kick it to our next segment here, we're going to talk some Buffalo Bills football. Stay tuned on Buffalo Sports Insider.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
I mean, they could.
Hi, Lauren. My name is Katie. We're going to take care of you, okay? I need 1, 2, 3.
I mean, no.
Stay out there. All right, come on. Richie, bring your camera on. So we got 8 seconds. Is it on?
8 seconds. We're good.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. Our third segment here today is the Buffalo Bills, as I am joined now by Richie Miller. Welcome. As we get started here, the Buffalo Bills have made a lot of moves over the past week, a lot of heartbreaking moves for a ton of fans, as they have released players like Tre'Davious White, Deontay Hardy, Saran Neal, Jordan Poyer, and Mitch Morse. All of those moves clearing up cap space. The team needs a lot of cap space. They actually restructured not Deion Dawkins, but Dawson Knox's contract earlier today as well. And Deion Dawkins signed a 3-year, $60.5 million extension with the team. As White's cut will not be official until June 1st when it clears almost $10 million in salary cap. Other than that, the Bills have made some other moves, signing Taylor Rapp, Mitchell Trubisky, Quentin Morris, and Matt Hawk, all to at least 1-year deals. What do you guys think these moves mean for the Buffalo Bills and their future as their Super Bowl window looks to continue?
So my favorite move that you actually didn't mention is restructuring Rasul Douglas' contract. I think just being able to bring Douglas
a
back,
huge safety net to the Bills secondary, especially with all the cuts they made. It's sad because it is the end of the era. That is the secondary that's been there for over 5 years at this point. I believe 7 years. Made the playoffs with them in a team that really wasn't expected to and had really just been cornerstones of that Bills defense for years. But I think it was overdue. Sad to say. Trey White has been dealing with just a ton of injuries in the past couple of years. I don't know that they could really afford Jordan Poyer with their cap situation. Micah Hyde was probably out the door regardless. So as sad as it is that they moved on from them, I think it is a move that had to be done. I think the Taylor Rapp re-signing was a very smart move. I do think he is still relatively young and he could break out in a starting role next year. I'm excited to see what they could do in free agency or the draft in terms of getting perhaps some more depth in the secondary position. But overall, I think there were moves that had to be made, as sad as they are. It was time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like these moves were way long overdue. I feel like getting Tre'Davious White out of Buffalo was definitely one of their biggest, and I know that's a heartwarming thing. I know you guys love T. White, but I felt like he needed to go with all the injuries and stuff like that. And also Taylor Rapp coming with a re-sign for 3 years, $10.625 million. Jeez, man. I feel like this is a great restructure for the Buffalo Bills, and hopefully they can pick up some good draft picks to get that going.
I think this has to happen. I mean, looking at salary cap,
often people think it's urban legend and teams won't get worse, but the Bills had to do this because they spent a lot of money over the last 3 years, which paid off as they were fourth in rankings for the last three years in wins. I think the Bills need to close out on the free money they have and add to the talent on this roster for Josh Allen.
To piggyback off what Michael and Richie was saying, I think it was long overdue. I think all these years of losing right there to the big game, I think it was about time where they just needed a switch, clean house, and sadly it had to be the ones who's been around for quite some time now. But I think Taylor Rapp can come in, be a strong good fit for the secondary, playing some strong safety. He's young, fresh body. So yeah, I like what Bills are doing right now, even though it seems out of whack.
It does indeed, Isaiah. I feel like there's a lot of moves the Bills can make here, but we're going to kick it into our final segment of the day. It's going to be NFL free agency, so stay tuned for that as we welcome you back to Buffalo Sports Insider after this.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
And how's your serve coming along?
Not so good.
I think we should work on it this weekend.
Amy's birthday bash slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our final segment of the afternoon. I'm joined by Shea Wirt for this one. As we get set to go here, it's the NFL free agency period. A lot of moves happening. Of course, big names like Mike Evans, Chris Jones, Madubuike, Baker Mayfield, all staying with their same team, including Pittman even in that conversation. A lot of guys like Christian Wilkins going to the Raiders is new. Russell Wilson going to the Steelers, new teams for these players. As I just want to kind of talk to you guys about in this segment, what do you feel are the biggest moves for these teams, and what do you think is going to be the biggest impactful deal that is made so far?
Looking at the free agency right now,
a little bit of running back and quarterback carousel going on, seeing Kirk Cousins signing with the Falcons and Saquon moving to the Eagles. I think those are really big moves. I think that overall, like the offensive side, there's going to be a lot of changes within the teams in free agency this year. And I think that, as a Chiefs fan, I do think that the restructured deal of Chris Jones is going to be super important. Keeping those key players on defense that helped carry our team all year pretty much is going to be vital. And keeping Chris Jones when there were speculations that we couldn't agree to a contract and there was like complications throughout the negotiations, I think that's going to be a massive move for them. And the most important thing is keeping L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie as well when those contracts are up.
Yeah, I would have to agree. The Saquon trade and the Kirk Cousins trade was definitely one of the most controversial to me. I feel like I really felt like these two players, they really are going to a team where they're going to fit and hopefully strive. And we don't even talk about the teams that are actually keeping players and re-signing a lot of players. I want to talk about the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are keeping and re-signing players throughout. I mean, Dalton Schultz, you got Chris Boyd, Eric Murray, Desmond King. These guys are all, they're all veterans, and these guys, I mean, except for Dalton. Well, yeah, these guys are all veterans, and they're good to keep. So,
I like the moves that the Bears made in free agency. They signed Swift, Kevin Bayard, and Jalen Johnson. I think these are very impactful players to playoff hopes. Looking on at the Bills, I feel like they dodged a bullet with not re-signing Gabe Davis, because he resigned a $40 million deal for 3 years with another team. Tony Pollard signs with the Titans. I think that was a good pickup by the Titans. DeAndre Swift, the Bears. T. Higgins requested trade. That was the biggest one. And Kendrick Boyer with the New England.
I want to be kind of by surprise. I actually love the pickup Pittsburgh made with Russell Wilson. I feel like that's what Pittsburgh needed. I feel like this defense has always proven itself to be top 7, top 10 in the league, and they just been lacking at quarterback help since Big Ben has left. But I feel like Russell Wilson walked into a situation in Denver where that team wasn't structured to win right away. And I feel like him going to Pittsburgh with a more dynamic offense and a better defense, I feel like they can show something in that division. I feel like they can give the teams a run for their money.
Yeah, as we know, a lot of Buffalo Bills were cut and all those moves were made. Gabriel Davis and Mitch Morse both going to Jacksonville. We know that for certain now, so we wish them the best of luck. Aside from that, though, today has been an amazing show. Thank you all for watching and, being patient with us in this new format phase. Make sure to check out our social medias and our website, as we will talk to you later. I'm your host, Thomas Bailey. Join with me, Shea Wirt, Michael Lastique, Brian Offe, Isaiah Marquez, Richie Miller, Evan Harrington, and Alex Miley. And we'll see you all next time on Buffalo Sports Inside.
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated.